You see many, many problems in the world and you can feel small. I feel small, but I had a small idea and it made a big difference.
Because International.
The shoe is the thing, as they say.
The shoe that grows.
The shoe that grows. First project from Lee's nonprofit.
Because International has created what item?
A shoe that grows right along with the kid.
I'm from Idaho. Grew up in a fairly smaller town, I guess, and I had never really traveled very much. I had a heart for people though. I really was interested in helping people and I wanted to see the world. After college, I decided to go, and I found myself living in Ecuador for 6 months and then Kenya for 6 months. I mean, they were life-changing for many reasons, but especially Kenya. When I was there, I was able to volunteer and live and work at a small orphanage, and the orphanage was in this small little village, about 140 kids. Every day I would get up and be with them, and we would play, we'd go to school, and I would teach a few things that I was able to teach, English and math, and kind of help them with that, and we'd play some more, we'd do our meals together, like just all day long I was around these awesome kids, and I got to see at least a little bit of what life was like for these kids growing up in Kenya. I remember it was a couple weeks into my time, and we were walking, all the kids and I were walking to church actually. A super hot day, this dusty road going into the village, and as we were walking there was this little girl next to me, and I'll never forget it. She had on this beautiful white dress. She's probably 8 or 9 years old. But as I looked down at her, I remember just being shocked at how small her shoes were. She was wearing these shoes that were just way too small for her feet. They were so small she had to cut open the front to let her toes stick out. I began to look around kind of with new eyes, and I noticed that a lot of the kids either had no shoes or they would do this. They'd cut open the front and let their toes stick out. And it was like I was seeing this for the first time. I asked the director of the orphanage, why do so many kids have shoes that don't fit? And he told me that more than a year before, they'd received some great donations of clothes and shoes and all kinds of things, but they had not received any more donations since then. He said, these are kids, like their feet are always growing. Like it just all kind of connected in my head in that moment. And I remember being there talking to him and just thinking, wouldn't it be nice if there was a pair of shoes that could adjust and expand their size? Wouldn't it be nice if there was a pair of shoes that could grow? And so I had this question in my mind then, because I had become friends with all these kids. I'd built such great relationships. I cared about them. I wanted to do something. But I thought, I really think a shoe that could grow could make a difference for these kids. And I'd seen it. I knew that it could. I thought, this is something I could do from home.
Hi, my name is Kenton Lee, and I'm with a new organization called Because International.
I had a couple of friends. We started this organization called Because International, and our first mission was to create a growing shoe. We didn't see anything else out there like that, but we also knew that we just had no idea what we were doing. So we tried to just give the idea away. We really didn't care who made it. We just wanted this growing shoe idea to happen. And so we made a list of, it was probably 30 major shoe companies, Nike, Reebok, Adidas, I mean, all the ones that everybody knows. I had these grand visions of them, you know, just over the phone being so excited and saying, yes, count us in. And we didn't want any money for it. Like we just wanted someone to do it. I talked to at least one person from all of these shoe companies, and everybody said no. Some of them I remember said, this is not a good idea. Some of them said, like, there's no way, like, this can't be done. It's just not going to work. So, so what do we do now? We actually thought, well, if nobody wants to help us, let's do it on our own. Brought all these pairs of shoes into the garage, and we just started cutting them up and gluing them together and piecing things here and there. We were trying to make a prototype. That was our big goal. I'll just show you. As you can see from this prototype, we could not. I wondered if I was wasting my time and wasting the time of my friends and other people too. Didn't know if it was worth it, and didn't know if it was would ever come to fruition. Didn't know if it was ever really going to happen. But the biggest thing I kept coming back to was really, it wasn't just a project for me. It was always so much more. This was my way of helping my friends. I was always very motivated by the relationships I'd built, the friends that I'd made at the orphanage in Kenya. And I never got away from that. I wasn't just trying to make a pair of shoes. I was trying to find a way to put my friends in a better position to succeed. I'm not a genius. I'm not a celebrity. I don't know. I'm not anything special. I'm just a guy from Idaho. I thought I could help with this. I had to make it happen, or I had to know for sure that it was not ever possible. And so we reached this point where we knew that these big companies didn't want to help us, but we also knew that we couldn't do it by ourselves. And so we needed some help. We finally found a new shoe design company in Portland, Oregon called Proof of Concept. And their founder, Gary, I talked to him, I told him our idea, and he loved it. He was so excited to help us out. And he took us through, dozens of ideas, and we narrowed it down, and then from that we kept refining it and working on it, and it just seemed like it was taking forever. But we finally got to a point where he and his team had made this first prototype by hand, and they were all set, and they mailed it over to me. And so I was beyond excited about getting this first official prototype. I was so excited. I was so excited. This is what was in the box. I just thought this was the best shoe in the whole world, and I was so excited that we had our first official prototype. We wanted to get it tested. We really needed to get it tested so we could get some feedback from actual kids wearing our shoes. And so we had a big fundraising goal and did a concert at the local coffee shop and stuff like that. And I was shocked. We were able to pretty quickly meet our goal. And so my wife and I, my wife Nikki, went back to Kenya. We took 100 pairs of our prototypes with us. And we were very, very fortunate to have a great friend in Kenya who helped organize 4 different schools where we could put the shoes, about 25 each school or so, and have kids try them out for about a year. This was the very first time that we'd ever been able to actually put these shoes on the feet of these awesome kids, and we were just so excited to show these to people, to tell them how it works. But a mom had come up to me and told me that she had just arrived and she wondered what these were and if I could explain it to her. And so I kind of quickly took the shoe, just like this one here, and was explaining, here are how these things work, and here's how it grows, and here's kind of what we're trying to do. And then I look at her face and she has some tears in her eyes, and she simply says, "These are so important. Like, thank you for doing this. This is so important." She kept using that word. This is so important. And her response, her response made me just kind of stop and really think, like, this is what I wanted. I wanted to create a product that made sense for someone who's actually going to use it for their family, for their kids. A product that could make more of a difference, you know, not just a regular pair of shoes, a shoe that can grow, and she got it. She totally saw what we were trying to do. That was the moment for me. We got great feedback these next few months, you know, from the kids, and some things we needed to change, and then some things that were working really well, and the kids really liked about the shoes. And so we reached this point where we had enough information to try to make a first batch, a first real batch at an actual factory, 3,000 pairs of what we called the shoe that grows. Although this is all still kind of a hobby, it's just kind of a passion project. I had a different full-time job. We were running everything just out of our house, but I was so excited about the shoe that grows and what was going on there. Like, I really felt like we accomplished what we were trying to accomplish. We made a growing shoe. We're starting to get these shoes out to kids around the world, and this is it. I really thought, we're there. This is all I've wanted this to be, and I was so happy with where everything was. And then we accidentally went viral, and everything changed.
A nonprofit is giving new meaning to an old saying: if the shoe fits, wear it.
The shoe is the thing, as they say.
The shoe that grows.
The shoes that
A shoe that grows.
The shoe that grows.
The shoe that grows. The first project for Lee's nonprofit.
a shoe that grows right along with the kid.
So this is the, hate to say it, first prototype that we made in the garage.
Where people are sending shoes overseas, but you don't think about the fact that the kid probably outgrows the shoe.
They're growing all the time.
That's when he came up with an idea. Footwear that grows with a child.
When kids have shoes that fit, they stay healthy.
International also says it's also looking at innovative ways to tackle other issues around the globe. It's something that Kenton calls practical compassion, which I love that phrase.
It was unbelievable. I had an article come out online about our shoes, and it just took off like wildfire. Overnight, we are getting requests for huge media, you know, Today Show and CBS Evening News, and I mean, I am on radio shows, I'm on podcasts, I'm traveling to a few different places to do like live interviews. I would wake up sometimes, 3 a.m. to do an interview in Australia or New Zealand. It was no longer this little hobby that I did out of the guest bedroom. It really overnight had turned into something so much more. The best thing we ever did was having my best friend, Andrew Cruz. He's our president now. He runs our organization and just does an incredible job. But Andrew came in, started doing everything that needed to be done, and it was just crazy. We went from our very first batch of 3,000 pairs to then 5,000 pairs to then 17,000 to then 20,000 pairs, and the story was getting spread. And donations were coming in and people were reaching out and they wanted to help, and it was just such an unexpected journey. And I still smile thinking about it because it was just incredible. We kept working to improve the shoes. We kept listening to the kids who were wearing them and getting their feedback. So it seemed like every batch of shoes had something a little different to it. As our cause grew, as our organization grew, we always wanted to be more than just the shoe that grows. We love our shoes, but we always wanted to give ourselves kind of room to do even more. As we thought about, what else can Because International do? How can we help use products as solutions to alleviate poverty? Where are those additional products going to come from? The whole reason I was able to help think of the shoe that grows was because I was living right there in Kenya at the orphanage with the kids every day. And so we just didn't feel like our team were the right people to think of new ideas for additional products. We really believe that innovation happens up close. So we really thought, what if the next step for Because International is coming alongside other entrepreneurs who live around the world and have great ideas for products that can really make a difference. And that's what our Pursuit Incubator is all about. It's really an entrepreneurial training program. It's taking kind of the journey that we had with our shoes and trying to help somebody else with their journey. It's hard to do anything alone. And I saw that firsthand with The Shoe That Grows. And so we hope that we can be that. We hope that we can be a mentor, a trainer. We can be whatever we need to be to help these entrepreneurs have success with their product ideas. And the ones we've worked with so far have been so amazing and exciting. Tony lives in Uganda, and Tony has this just awesome, common sense, great products that he's working with. It's basically a straw, but it's made from natural resources that exist right around him in Uganda. Tony is so excited to create products that are better for the earth, try to replace single-use plastic. He already had this product. He's really got so many things figured out, but he just needed a little bit of help. And so, if anything, he kind of just needed someone to come alongside and say, hey, you can do this, you know? And so that's what we have loved to do for Tony. And besides the training, you know, besides a connection to our team, we were able to help Tony connect with this really important person, one of our Pursuit Advisory Council members, who I think is going to help Tony's business maximize its potential. Our team is committed, whether it's a training, whether it's just introducing somebody to someone else, whatever our team can do to empower these entrepreneurs that we work with, we're going to do it. How we hope it works is as people have opportunity through our Pursuit Incubator to work on their idea, but then for their business to provide jobs and increased economy to help alleviate poverty and lift up these communities. I'll use our shoes as an example. You know, our shoes are in and of themselves making a difference, meeting a need for kids who need that footwear. But then through the business, through the manufacturing, we're bringing jobs to a factory in Kenya that is producing our shoes. When people are employed, I mean, the sky's the limit. They are able to meet their own needs. They're able to afford their own healthcare, food, everything they need, education for their kids. When people have jobs, great things happen. We want to be a part of bringing jobs through these products, bringing jobs to these areas that desperately need it. And as I look into the future for Because International, I want to do what we did with our shoes with other people and with other products and with other ideas. That's really what gets me excited. I feel like the shoe was just like a seed that was planted to grow this great big tree of all these other ideas and all these other products that are going to make a difference and bring jobs and increase the economy and lift up communities and alleviate poverty so that people can have more chances to succeed. If there's ever been a time for us to join together to solve the world's problems, it's now. I don't think we can do it alone, but small things from each of us can combine to make a huge difference, because poverty is a problem that we can solve together.